Get your hands where I can see them! Step out of the car right now!
Officer, I am complying. My hands are visible on the wheel. What is the legal basis for this order?
I don't need to give you a basis. Out of the car now!
I am not resisting, officer. I am asking for your shift supervisor.
Step out of the car right now!
A routine highway stop for failing to signal a quick lane change suddenly turned into a terrifying display of power, complete with drawn weapons and dark threats of immediate force. It was broad daylight, and red and blue emergency lights flashed wildly across the driver's face. But what Officer Novak did not realize was that the quiet, calm driver sitting behind the wheel was not just a knowledgeable citizen. He was Marcus Vance, an active lead homicide detective who was out tracking a dangerous suspect for the city's major crimes division. I'm Brad, and today we're breaking down where this power-hungry officer crossed the line, how he desperately tried to cover it up on tape, and the single piece of Bodycam audio that completely ended his career. Officer Novak marches up to the driver's side window, keeping one hand resting heavy on his sidearm holster. Inside the car, Detective Vance sits completely still, keeping both of his hands firmly positioned at the 10 and 2 mark on the steering wheel, while slowly rolling down his window. But before he even tells him why he pulled him over, Novak barks out an aggressive demand for Vance's license and registration in a sharp, hostile tone. Notice how Officer Novak sets a dangerous high-stress baseline from the very first second of this interaction. The entire reason for this stop was a minor, non-violent traffic check, a brief lane shift without using a turn signal. It was a simple, everyday mistake that should have taken just a few minutes to clear up. Instead, Novak treats the situation like an active threat. Look closely at the huge difference between these two men. Detective Vance stays soft-spoken and entirely compliant. He keeps his hands high where the officer can clearly see them, keeping his voice calm with zero resistance. He does everything a driver is supposed to do to keep the situation safe. Yet Officer Novak skips standard de-escalation entirely. He steps up to the door with an aggressive posture, barking orders and putting his hand right on his gun. Instead of keeping the peace, Novak creates an uneasy, tense energy that makes you wonder just how far this officer is willing to go.
Without warning, Officer Novak unsnaps his holster, pulls out his taser, opens the driver's door, and forcefully grabs Detective Vance by the arm to yank him out of the vehicle. All Vance did was calmly ask for a supervisor on duty to clear up the confusion. This is the exact moment a simple traffic stop spirals into a dangerous, unlawful confrontation. The sheer mismatch of force here is scary. We are talking about a minor lane change issue, yet within seconds, Officer Novak is reaching for weapons and putting hands on a driver. There was absolutely no threat here. Detective Vance never raised his voice, never made any sudden movements, and certainly never tried to run away. He sat entirely still, speaking in a quiet, respectful tone. Yet Officer Novak let his own rising anger and bruised ego drive every decision. Instead of answering a simple question, he chose to use physical violence to force compliance. He wanted to prove who was in charge, completely ignoring basic safety rules. But as his fingers dig into Vance's arm, Novak has no idea that every second of this force is being captured on tape, and it is about to backfire on him in a massive way. The body cam footage freezes right at the exact second Officer Novak reaches into the car, grabbing Detective Vance's arm while holding his drawn taser. Bright, bold text pops up on the screen, highlighting two crucial legal rules that every driver needs to know. First is Pennsylvania v. Mims from 1977. This famous Supreme Court rule allows police officers to order a driver to step out of a vehicle during a normal traffic stop. However, the law clearly states that it does not give an officer permission to use excessive physical force or threaten drivers with weapons unless there is a real active threat. Next to it, the screen displays the Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution. This powerful right protects every single citizen against unreasonable seizures and unnecessary force during any police interaction. Here is the key takeaway you must remember. While an officer can legally order you to step out of your car, they cannot use physical violence or weapon threats simply because you asked a peaceful question. Demanding compliance is allowed by law, but using physical intimidation on a non-violent citizen is completely illegal. Officer Novak thought his badge gave him the right to hide behind his short temper, but the law draws a very strict line. By jumping straight to physical grabbing and weapon threats, he turned a simple traffic check into a serious violation of constitutional rights. And as the camera keeps recording every single second of this mistake, the biggest shock of the day is still waiting for him inside that car. Officer Novak spins Vance around against the hood of the car and clicks cold metal handcuffs onto his wrists. Vance remains completely composed, calmly nodding toward his suit jacket pocket. He politely tells the secondary backup officer to reach inside and pull out his gold homicide detective badge and official credentials. The backup officer pulls out the leather case, opens it up, and his face instantly goes pale. He steps forward and touches Novak's arm, saying, "Novak, stop. Look at this. He's homicide major crimes." Novak's eyes widen as he reads the card out loud, his voice stuttering. "Lead Detective Vance?" Watch Novak's body language completely collapse in an instant. The aggressive, chest-out posture he used just seconds ago deflates immediately. His booming, angry tone vanishes, replaced by nervous stuttering and frantic glances toward his partner as the weight of his massive mistake hits him. You can almost see the panic racing through his mind. He realizes he did not just push around an everyday citizen who would not know how to stand up for themselves. The extreme irony here is undeniable. Novak illegally detained a senior homicide detective who understands police procedure, proper conduct, and constitutional law far better than Novak ever will. But instead of owning up to his terrifying error right then and there, Officer Novak is about to make a desperate decision that will ruin his life forever.
Officer Novak walks back toward the front grille of his patrol cruiser, completely unaware that his chest microphone is still active and transmitting crystal clear audio straight to the recorder. He leans in toward his backup officer and whispers, "Was right that he was weaving, failed to yield, and pulled his arm away when I grabbed him. If we log active resistance, the stop holds up." Right here, a bad traffic stop turns into a felony cover-up. Instead of swallowing his pride, admitting he made a huge mistake, and letting Detective Vance go, Novak chooses to make things much worse. He decides to invent a completely fake story on paper. He plans to claim that a senior homicide detective actively resisted him, hoping that a false police report will protect his badge and save his career. This is where Novak makes his most fatal mistake. In his blind panic to cover his tracks, he totally forgets that his own body camera is recording every single word he speaks. Every piece of his dirty plan is being saved in real time onto a digital hard drive. He thinks he is writing a cover story that will save his job, but in reality, he is digging himself into a deep legal hole. He is setting himself up for felony charges for falsifying official records and violating civil rights. And as he stands there plotting his lie, he has no idea how fast this recorded audio will come back to destroy everything he built. Once state investigators reviewed the raw body cam footage, the official investigation moved at lightning speed. The camera revealed the complete truth, and the fallout hit Officer Novak fast and hard. A bold scorecard graphic pops up on the screen, detailing the full downfall of an officer who thought he was above the law. Internal Affairs Audit, official finding of falsified official records and illegal use of force. Employment status, terminated from the police force and decertified. Criminal charges, indicted for perjury and violation of oath of office. Civil settlement, $500,000 civil rights settlement paid to Detective Vance. The written police report could no longer protect him. Internal Affairs investigators listened directly to the recorded audio where Novak plotted his cover-up, comparing his own spoken words against the false report he turned in. The discrepancy was undeniable. Within weeks, his badge was stripped away, and he was permanently banned from working in law enforcement again. A grand jury handed down criminal charges for his lies,
proving that even officers face real punishment when their deceit is caught on tape. On top of his lost job and criminal trial, the city was forced to pay out a massive $500,000 settlement. It was a total breakdown of authority, but the final lessons from this wild encounter are things every single driver needs to know.
So, what can we learn from this crazy interaction to keep ourselves safe on the road? Here are 3 simple rules every single driver should always remember. First, comply physically. If an officer orders you to step out of your car, exit calmly. The side of the road is not the place to fight a legal battle. Second, assert verbally. Say clearly for the recording, "Officer, I am complying, but I do not consent to any searches or detentions." Third, rely on the record. Keep your composure and let body cams and phone footage capture all the evidence without arguing. Officer Novak learned the hard way. An officer can write whatever story they want in a police log, but they can never rewrite what the body cam recorded. When you stay calm, keep your composure, and let the lens record every second, cold hard evidence and the truth will win every time. If you believe in holding power accountable and protecting civil rights, smash the subscribe button and share this video with someone you care about. I'll see you in the next breakdown.